I think we're good.
All right.
Cool.
Perhaps it is go time.
Okay, so for the sake of
Editing.
yeah. But welcome guys. I kind of forgot our intro. This is our first podcast episode that we are doing live. And so this is on the YouTube and we're live streaming.
This is also the first episode in the new digs
Yes.
down here at the studio.
Yeah, we're in a studio now, not in Kevin's apartment anymore.
Which it's even smaller, but it's still an upgrade.
Yeah. Nah, it's real cozy. We changed some of the layout, and it's looking real nice. I'm real happy with it now.
We have a leather throne in here.
Yes, that was outside, and so we had to shove a bunch of leaves off of it, and it's very dirty. But I thought we had like wet wipes in here, but I don't think we do. So we gotta actually say our names, Kevin, if you could.
Yeah. So right now we got our fearless leader, our overlord, Scott Sowers, and the lackey on the audio engineering side is myself, Kevin Spence. So this is not a trial run exactly, but our first live stream, so offer ample criticisms, especially of the technical quality. You can offer criticism of the content quality as well, but we might argue with you. So
yeah. Okay, so it's a lot later than we wanted to start, so let's just get into it. So we kind of break all of our stuff down in kind of sections, just so I don't know, we can have some structure because people like structure and order. So Kevin, what are you working on artistically? I guess your job as a cook is technically artistic, but
no. Let's not put that label on my... I don't even cook all that often anymore. I just do paperwork. But
oof.
Well, I am still in the PAX group, PAX Smilie, which has been recently revived, which is very cool. Scott was at our last show last week.
Sounded great.
And we're trying to get more content. So we have some new videos up and a single just released, which it's only like the third, maybe fourth track that I've actually recorded on. It's one of my favorite songs ever, definitely from the band. It's just phenomenal. It's called King of Hearts by PAX Smilie, so go give that a listen.
It's really, really good. Like, I first listen, I was instantly in love with it.
Very brooding, philosophical. Some of my favorite qualities of art, somehow. And then the newest development with me artistically is I joined an orchestra, which...
That's right. I forgot about that.
Is just about... The only similarity between it and the stuff I do with PAX or on my own is that they're both music. Because if for the vast majority of people who have never joined an orchestra, there is zero room for improvisation. Everything down to the volume is charted for you in the sheet music. So, yeah, that's been challenging, especially because I'm a miserable sight reader. So I've just had to learn a lot of very advanced music just in my bedroom so that I don't sound like a complete idiot at rehearsals, of which we only have 2 more before the performance. So, yeah.
It's in April, right?
It is.
Okay.
So we have rehearsal this Wednesday and then the Wednesday after that.
Early April? When's the date? Just tell me.
April 12th.
April 12th. Okay.
I think we only have 2 more. Let me see.
Just nothing in March, please.
Maybe 3 more. I don't know. Not enough for me to feel comfortable is the
I'm
front line
going.
of that, but-
I'm going.
Oh, sweet.
If anyone's gonna
Scott is
come with me.
more supportive of my musical endeavors than my parents.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Well, well, cause see, especially with PAX, I really like going to your shows, even though you play the same songs over and over again. I've heard them thousands of times. Cause one, it's very different from the recording, so you're getting a completely different experience.
Oh, that's good to know. Cause from the stage, it feels not different from the recordings.
Well, maybe it's like, just like the vibe too as well, because it's so loud and it's not mixed, it's not condensed into a studio, so it just feels raw and powerful. But another reason why I like going is hearing your riffs, of which you had tons. I think I came in late, FY last show, and I heard like maybe like the last 2 or 3 songs that they were playing, and there were so many keyboard solos.
Yeah, Michael, the poor drummer, has no solos. Michael himself, who's the front man, he doesn't give himself all that many either, but he sings, I guess.
Yeah.
It's really me and Caleb, the guitarist, that take a bunch of it.
Did he? Because I don't think I saw him do one solo.
Oh, he did.
Okay.
Before you got there, probably.
Gotcha.
Oh. Yeah, he's insane. When my wife saw him the first time, and it was when he was playing with his other band, she leaned over and told me, she's like, does that guy know he can do things with his time besides play guitar? Because he's very skilled. So, well, Scott, what have you been putting your creative hands at?
This is where I would like to FYI, she's saying something about Windows notification.
Windows notification.
That's raping the ears a little bit. I'm not sure if I should say that, but I gotta be. I've said a couple things on the podcast that I've cut out. Not that like they're super horrible, but they're maybe just a little too edgy.
Now you have to cut out you saying that. You're just exposing yourself.
That's fine. But yeah, this is where I want to announce that I'm doing a sitcom, audio sitcom. It's not like camera in hand, but it requires actors and it requires sound and it requires writing, and it's a situation and there's comedy involved. So I think it's serviceable enough. And then I'm sure lots of our listeners have also encountered a little show called Adventures in Odyssey. So I imagine that you guys should be a fine transfer. But anyway, Kevin's working on it. He's doing the sound, obviously. I am writing it and directing it and acting in it, doing a little bit more than I should, just for the sake of image and not looking like a complete narcissistic psychopath. But yeah, I have not told you what the title is yet, and the title is basically going to tell you everything you need to know. The title of it is called Homeschooled, and it's about schooling
At home.
Yeah. and all the community that comes with that. So I've been homeschooled for since first grade, so ever. And I've weirdly had a lot of crazy interactions when it comes to that, because there's if you have not been homeschooled and you if this is a weird world to you, there's actually quite a bit of community and kind of a culture to it that I want to show.
Massive culture.
And then Kevin's been homeschooled since
day one.
So we kind of know what we're talking about when.
But to be clear, we're in the cool part of homeschool culture.
Well, yeah.
Whatever that is.
And that's something also I want to make sure I kind of address in the show is that there is the ones who have actually talked to a living, breathing human being, other than
Interacted with other Homo sapiens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's also a sect that's kind of just saw the first line of light when they hit like 23. So.
We both know both breeds.
Yeah. And so this show is definitely connected to both of us because, I mean, we've known each other since I was in high school. Kevin's a little older than me.
What?
You're a little older than me.
When did you join Alethea? In high school?
I think maybe last year of middle school. So, yeah, basically.
Yeah. So I was like a sophomore.
Yeah.
So a little while.
I don't know. What do you think? So we've only recorded 3 episodes, I think.
Yes.
I'm writing the rest still. We're trying to release the first 3 within a few weeks from each other. Just so it's kind of nice and neat, and then we'll work on the other episodes as we go on. But so far, Kevin, what do you think?
It's a pleasantly challenging technical process for me, and I haven't even done any Foley work yet. So, but it's also got a lot of very funny moments.
Yay.
And just enough for it to have serious potential, and probably the what's the term? The main draw will be the other main voice actor that's working with Scott, Mr. Mark Burdick.
He's really good.
He's very good. He's got extra vocal cords or extra muscles down there or something.
Some superpower.
Yeah.
Something that doesn't exist normally.
So he plays several characters, switches between them seamlessly, and he takes that art form very seriously. It's like his thing. So very nice to have him on the project, and for me, because it makes me feel like, oh wow, that like I have to communicate, I have to translate this guy's creativity and voice range through like all the technology.
That makes sense.
So
yeah, we'll have to get him on the show once once the other show is out.
We'll interview him for all of you.
Yeah. And that's basically what I've been working on. Other than that, I've been doing like some video editing, and a couple movie reviews are coming. I have a plan. Don't worry, I'm still doing the movie reviews. That process has slowed exponentially because of the sitcom and other things in my life. Because I still have a life.
He's not the homeschooler who has yet to see the limelight.
Yeah. Cool. So I don't know. Anything you want to add, Kevin? My boy?
I think that covers it.
Cool. So let's move on. So the next segment we do is what we've been consuming. So if you haven't noticed, we are a Christian podcast that looks at movies and TV shows and music and video games, and we look at all that and we try to analyze it through a Christian perspective. And what part of that goes into is just that's supposed to help you in daily life, and along with that, that should help you with your brothers and sisters in Christ, and just kind of check up on what they've been watching. One, just for conversation's sake. And 2, just make sure that, they're doing good, they're still on the path with Christ, and they're not watching something that is not letting them sleep at night. So so we just kind of take this time to check up on each other. So Kevin, you're on the hot seat first.
The media I've been consuming the most recently is very safe from any accountability criticism, because It's a game called Timberborn, and
I've heard a couple of stuff of this.
yeah, it is a resource management village simulator, I guess is the term I came up with off the top of my head.
Okay.
But the catch to it is that it's a village of beavers and beavers only, and you have to manage their resources, which include wood and water, and different crops that they grow. And as I expound on this, it sounds more and more boring, but for some reason the appeal is massive to me. And my most recent village, all the beavers died because
Oof.
I'm a terrible resource manager, and I would be a horrible zoning officer because I put all the important buildings too far away from beaver homes and just make a lot of bad decisions. So I need to work on my game there. But the strange thing about it, maybe not so strange, but it led me to do a massive deep dive into the lifestyle of real beavers. And so I've spent a good couple hours just reading about beavers on Wikipedia, and I suggest all of you do too, because there's a lot going on with those animals that evolution and random chance could not have come up with. They
Take that.
I mean, you could just look at the fact that they have eyeballs that convert light into electrical impulses that their brain recognizes just like all of us do.
Nah,
But
man, those are just like pearls that just aged a little bit too long.
oh yeah, fermented pearls in their heads,
Yeah.
of course. I'm sure that's what Richard Dawkins.
It can't be far off.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, a little lore drop for you guys. Kevin is kind of obsessed with beavers.
Yeah.
You have that. Do you still use that shaving stuff?
Oh, those are otters.
Oh, otters.
Yeah, there's
Not close enough.
another a product shout out is, and this is shaving's an art too, and I'll die on that. There's a company that makes artisan shaving soaps and aftershaves called Noble Otter, and their whole brand is otter based, and it's just phenomenal. So if you're into wet shaving, look at their products. If you're not into wet shaving, do yourself a favor and get into it, because if you do go about it the right way, you'll save money and your face will be less torn up if you stop using those dumb 5-blade Gillette cartridge pieces of crap.
That's what I use, baby.
Yeah, well, it works better for some than others, I guess.
Well, there's always little remnants, so it's not the best. But.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You'll get a super smooth shave if you go with a safety razor. But
okay, what about like bourbon? Do you have like something? You're probably searching at least for some alcohol that has a beaver on it.
oh, nope.
If you guys know anything, just let us know in the chat or something.
Yeah, that would be a pairing made in heaven.
Yeah.
Beavers and bourbon. if it doesn't exist, I should start my own beaver distillery.
That would be sick.
That'd probably sell. But yeah, I know that it was really that game that got me all super interested in beavers.
Okay.
And so but if the game disappeared now, I would still be fascinated. They're just so cool.
I would probably make some sort of like autistic comment, but I'll hold my tongue for right now.
Good for you.
Cool. Is that it? All you want to share?
Yeah, I think that's.
I think I have
it for me.
I think I have it on like my wish list or something. I think I want to play it.
I realize it's not for everybody because of the type of game it is. Like some people, I don't enjoy like those. I'm trying to think of an example. The turn-based like Pokemon battle sort
RPGs?
of games. Yeah, like turn-based battle RPG kind of things. Like that doesn't interest me at all. But for some reason, building beaver towns interests me mightily. So, to each their own.
Well, okay. I thought the same thing too, and then I played one and I kind of got like really addicted, but I understand that. But what is it kind of that thing with though like Clash of Clans where you like have to upgrade and you have to wait like 10 hours for it to or 20 days?
It's if you're not on the game, nothing's happening.
Okay.
Like you have to be on, and there's like 3 different you can speed time up.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you start a map and sit down for 2 hours, you'll have like a sprawling like town.
Okay.
So, and then 30 minutes later, you'll kill all the beavers because of resource mismanagement.
Gotcha.
Which is where I've ended up.
So is it more like a board game system then? Could you say? Because it kind of sounds a little like Catan.
Yeah,
but everything sounds like Catan to me.
No, that it is actually.
Okay.
Yeah, you unlock buildings as your beavers get smarter, and the buildings need resources to be built and workers to build them and employees to be employed at those buildings, and you need different kinds of materials as the beavers get smarter, and as you get more beavers you need more food. That's been my big problem. I think I just am encouraging procreation way too much. So there ends up being like 80 beavers and food for 30 beavers, which ends in 80 dead beavers.
Well, I mean, I still tip my hat to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying.
Do God's work.
I know
baby.
It gives you a god complex. You're just this invisible guiding force behind all these plank-tailed rodents.
Nice.
Yeah.
Huh. That one's always been really hard for me is like the resource management stuff, because like even with like Catan and like Catan-like games, I'm like, or like even like Minecraft.
Yeah.
I think it's like because I am all focused on one goal. Like when it comes to Catan, I'm just all I want is the longest road. I don't care if I win. I just want longest road.
And how often do you get longest road if that's all you're thinking about?
I actually get quite a lot.
Oh, okay.
And then like if I'm like playing with one of our friends, he'll try to compete with me, but I think most of the times we played, I've gotten it.
Yeah.
So
good for you.
And then sometimes I accidentally win. Cool. And then what? Now I don't think I have that one wish listed. I think what I was thinking about was that duck game you wanted me to play.
Oh.
I have that.
Yeah.
So we'll have to play that someday. Anyway. I can't think of any. Here, give us a beaver fact.
Beavers only have one mate at a time. So
how impressive is that for the rest of the animal kingdom?
Well, if you compare it to a praying mantis, it's very impressive. Because they eat each other. So I guess they also have one at a time. They just end it by cannibalism.
Till death do you part.
Yep.
Interesting.
All right.
Kevin's Beavers facts, everybody.
Yep.
We'll have to drop one every show.
Make it a regular segment.
I've been on Amazon Prime quite a bit. I know that's one you. Do you still use that?
Yeah.
I imagine because that. So I don't know because I just use my parents, but that just comes with Prime, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And everyone has Prime because it's
just about. That's what's
super convenient.
Yeah. Yep.
But there are 2 shows on there right now that I've been watching. One I finished all the way through, and then this other one I'm just starting because I just finished that other one. So it's both Invincible and House of David.
I know all about Invincible. Not all about, but that it's become quite the conversation topic at work. So.
Oh, they're all watching it?
Yeah. So I might need to pick it up.
Might is a strong word. Depending on what your tolerance is.
Yeah. That's what they told me to.
Okay. I don't know. Do you know like serious spoilers or anything like that?
No,
Okay.
and I'd rather not.
Well, yeah. It's just it's good that they're being nice and tight-lipped.
Oh well, I told them, hey,
Oh.
stop.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice assertive boy.
Yeah, I get what I want at work.
Well, you can fire them, right?
No,
Oh, okay.
I can't even write them up.
Dang.
Yeah.
Phone call though, right? It's like, hey.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just HR, just like, hey.
No, not even. Just the sous chef that's right above me. Hey, Chris, come here.
And that's the guy who's spoiling it for you, probably, right?
No. No,
Oh, okay.
It's subordinates.
Gotcha. That sounds about right. I tried talking about my boss once, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't care." He doesn't want to hear anything I say. I tried to explain to him to what like a capo is, and he just like plugs his ears and starts no. But one day I'll have to bring the guitar to the Connex. But Invincible, very very good. Especially if you're like a big superhero fan, it's money for you, because it is. So people try to say it's not a parody because it is a show. They want it to sound like it's a serious show, but parody can still be serious. It just means
absolutely.
that you are critiquing it in a way or reinterpreting things just so to kind of see the flaws and strengths of a genre. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Don't look up Webster.
No. I wouldn't dream.
I am accessing like 5th grade knowledge. I think that's when I learned what parody means. But it is a superhero parody. But it's not in the context of like I'm not sure if you've heard this other show, The Boys. I haven't seen that one, but I kind of the same kind of thing where I kind of get the gist. Where I know the history as well because The Boys is was a comic at first, and it was written by a guy who was burned by the superhero comic industry. Like he got fired from like DC or Marvel or something like that, and so after that he like swore. FYI, I don't know if I'm giving like wrong information. This is literally just memory. He was burned from the comic industry. Then he goes, makes his own comic, his own indie comic, and it's basically just to rip apart superheroes because he hates them. And so he makes them, the superheroes, just awful people, and then a bunch of regular people have to go and kill them. And it's very much silly parody, just to make fun, is in no way a love letter to superheroes. Invincible is the exact opposite. It's a complete love letter, and it's full of the same tropes, full of the same silliness, but it takes it with like it takes it very very seriously. And the way it kind of does that is it grounds it in like real life, and that's parody enough. And I mean like really grounds. So I'm sure you know it is a very very violent show.
Yeah.
But that's just to like really ground it. And like there's some things that that happened in like the first season when I first watched it that like really like shook me because it's very real and what would probably happen. And it's like, you know, like in the Marvel movies when Captain America's throwing his shield and it just bounces off people like a little frisbee.
Yep.
If that, I've been saying this for years, if that happened in the Invincible world, that thing's gonna go clean through them.
Straight through.
Yes. So it's kind of in that vein. And then it's also just like taking these characters and just giving them like PTSD, and they act in very very human ways. Like there's this one scene that happened in the season 3 finale, and there's this one line that's just super super confusing, doesn't make any sense, but it's very very human in a way,
as humans tend to be.
exactly. So and it's really good. The only thing, it's not very sexual, surprisingly.
That's good.
I'm just yeah, thankful. But it is it's got some coarse language and it's extremely violent. But that's the hard part for me. I don't know. What do you think about that kind of stuff?
I haven't consumed a whole lot of it. Not by choice. Well, yes, by choice, but not under principle. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think this might be a irrelevant comparison, but the Bible is very violent.
Yeah.
So the depiction of violence inherently is not wrong. So, it can be abused and can be for no good purpose. And plenty of those shows exist and movies. I cannot speak to whether Invincible is one of those because I have not seen it. So,
well, if you do, let me know.
Yeah, I'll let you know if I'm judging you.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to you from then on.
You can judge me just from the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one thing I feel somewhat reassured in the show is that it's not unnecessary.
It's like for a purpose.
Yeah, like every single time, for the most part, every now and then there's like scenes where it's like, okay, you just kind of enjoying it maybe, because gosh, it irritates me so much when people are like, oh yeah, the gore doesn't really bother me, it doesn't affect me anymore, because I'm like,
that's not the point.
That one, that's not the point of the show, and two, that's like not healthy.
Yeah.
Don't like.
It's called desensitizing.
And people like shrug it off like they're tough now or something, like they've been through a war or something like that. Like, no, you're not cool, and you're not healthy.
Yep.
But with that, it's like every single scene where it really hits, where it's supposed to be always very very emotional, and you're supposed to be absolutely disgusted. So
yeah, that can be a nice reminder that you have feelings.
Yes.
And a sense of repulsion.
Yeah. But and it's not, it is violent, but it's not like constant, I wouldn't say. Like it's not a constant stream. Like everybody will point to certain scenes that you can always kind of pull from.
Rather than just the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like another, I was thinking about this on the way here. Because I always talk about Tarantino, right?
Yeah.
Because I think he's a really good director, but he's also known for a ton of violence, and to be honest, I don't like that. Just because I feel like he does get to a point a lot where it's just too much.
Yeah.
When it comes to like screenplay, composition, a bunch of made up words. He's fantastic. So
nice.
And then the other one is House of David. Have you heard of that one?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, so I know I've had this conversation with you before. I don't know if you remember it, because I tend to remember these things better than most people.
Definitely better than me. My wife brings things up. She's like, "Oh, remember that super touching moment we had, or that super harrowing moment?" No. What are you talking about?
Oh, Kevin. Oh, do you remember that one time on the lake at the boat and you touched my hand ever so gracefully?
Nope. My wife is not like that. Disclaimer. She just has a better memory than I do.
So one of my dreams, like for a while now, for like years, is because shows like The Chosen, right?
Yeah.
I am so sick and tired of people just putting the Jesus movie to film for various reasons. One, because I'm somewhat confused on create no image.
Second commandment violations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm still not absolutely sure if that applies to Jesus or not, but I think it's kind of getting to a place of
why not err on the side of caution?
Exactly.
Is what I say.
Yeah, exactly. That, and two, it's been done like a million times.
Yeah,
million times. Just let Mel Gibson have his thing, and just chill. Guys, there's a bajillion other stories in the Bible that are sick and like historical, so you can
don't involve Second Commandment violations.
Exactly. But so what I've been wanting forever, because I was thinking it's like, man, this could be like a Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones type show, is if they do the story of King David, and not just King David and Goliath, which has also been done a million times, but like the actual story. So you want to guess what I've discovered?
That premise?
Yes! Dude, I saw a trailer for it, and I'm like, no way they're actually doing that. And then I go to my dad. I was like, did you hear about this? He's like, oh yeah, I've seen the show already. I've seen not all the episodes are out, but all the episodes that are out, he's seen already.
Thanks a lot for telling me, Dad.
Yeah. And then he shows it to me, and we're watching it, and my mind is blown.
Oh, so it's good.
Dude, it's tight, man.
Nice.
Like it's like one of those things. I've only seen like 2 episodes and a half, but I'm like sucked in, and like I like to a point where like I'm. This is not me just telling you what. You should watch this kind of type show, because it's got some great production value behind it. The acting's great, the writing's great, and it's really telling the story. And it looks like it's going to be an ongoing show, and they're going to really try to tell the whole story. I hope they do, because I mean it's only first season, you don't know what's going to happen. But I'm hoping this gains traction so we can, because there's so many things I want to see. Because I was a little disappointed in it, but there's a lot of stuff that they're showing that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Because they are starting it before Goliath.
Oh, okay.
But a million different things happened to David before that time. So it starts from the reign of King Saul, and he's happy and dancing, and he's king. And so he's basically through with taking over completely the land of Israel, the promised land. But there's a few different things he's got to take care of still. But then the show starts. Here's some minor spoilers, which is a funny thing to say because you should be spoiled.
It's been written down in antiquity.
And is one of the most purchased books ever.
I think it is the most purchased book ever.
Yeah. And I think next to that is Pilgrim's Progress.
Yep.
So that
and
tells
then
you something.
Harry Potter.
Is it really?
I think so, but
that's actually really funny if it is.
But of course it is. We got Bible, biblical, allegory, witchcraft.
Yep. But yeah. And then so it starts, the first episode is Samuel coming over and saying, the throne's not going to be yours anymore. We're giving it to another guy because you've fallen away from the grace of the Lord. And it is, dude, and it's what because me and my dad, we've been watching it. He's been watching it again as I've been watching it. We keep talking about it and just gushing over this show.
Nice.
Because it's funny too, because it's got like, it's like hinting stuff, and it's got like Easter eggs and hinting stuff for like storylines to come. And it's so fun to catch that kind of stuff. But it's also super, like, me and my dad were saying, it's like it's not heretical so far.
Nice.
It's like very on point and unashamed of what it is, but not like overly preachy yet. I mean, there's a couple scenes every now and then where it's like maybe it's a little too close,
Tone it back.
It still works within every scene. Um, and what my dad says, it's what it always starts with. We're trying to stay as close. It like has like a little blurb in the very beginning.
wow.
We're trying to stay as close to the Bible as possible, but FYI, we are taking some liberties. And by liberties, it's more like, well, I can't even say that because there's that one scene that Dad likes to mention a lot, but it's more just filling in the gaps for the most part.
Conjecture, kind of.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with as long as they're sticking to the story and what actually happened. And we all know everything, and you're still trying to make it. It's still a piece of art and entertainment.
Yeah.
And it's not, like The Chosen where you're like really skirting some lines. And it's. I should probably shut up. It's really good.
I'll see if I can fit it into my schedule.
You got it, dude. It's. I mean, there's all. Oh, I should mention this. And I don't. Are you familiar with N.D. Wilson? So, he's part of that like Moscow, Idaho group, the Christchurch, Canon Press, that kind of group. And so he's Doug Wilson's son, and he's a very prolific. I think that's the right word. Christian writer, and he's part of this show too. So, I'm telling you this. I know it's kind of going over your head.
Yeah, but
other listeners are
might be
probably freaking out. So.
Nice.
It's really good. I'm really excited.
Cool.
Just let it sit a little bit. I'm thinking about the show.
I can't think about it. I haven't seen it.
Pull it up.
Heck no.
Let's just interrupt this. Anyway. We still got another topic to talk about. A big one. But
before you start it, I need to use the bathroom like I never have in my life. So
I kind of locked. Go ahead. Go. I'll talk to you.
Where is it?
Okay, I'll be right back, guys. So, down here. Okay, I'm back. Kevin really needed to pee. You should see him, man. He was like holding his back. He was dying for that toilet. But I was about to say something. I can't remember. Oh yeah. Before this, while we were having some technical issues, I kind of locked him in the room because we don't know how to unlock this door yet. There is like kind of that like unlocking kind of knob thing, but I don't think it works. So because every single time it locks, I've been locked out. I don't think I've ever had to ask for a key yet, but yeah, we're still kind of figuring this place out. But yeah, Kevin forgot his charger for his laptop, so I had to go run and use his car, which was kind of freaky because I don't like really using people's cars. Other people's, it just really makes me nervous, and I got into an accident recently. Was not my fault at all. But yeah, now I've been just getting super defensive. and more nervous. So I had to like use a rental, and that really freaked me out too. But yeah, I got the charger, and it's cool. We're good now. I don't know. While we wait, if any of you guys are still in chat, I don't know. Go say something. What have you guys been watching? I don't know if any of you guys are in chat, but if you guys are in chat, go ahead and type something. What you guys been watching? What do you guys think? Have you guys seen House of David? Have you guys been playing Timberborn? I think. Yeah, we part of the reason why we want to do live is because we want to hear from you guys. We want to know what you're thinking on the matter too. We can't be looking at the chat all the time, so I'm not gonna guarantee that we're gonna get to you super super fast. And like I said, I think there's a slight delay. But we do want to hear from you guys. We want I I can't speak for Kevin by myself, but I really want to create more connection with you guys and have you guys almost feel like you're in the booth with us. Hedgehogs? Okay, Jack. What about hedgehogs? Have you watched the Sonic 3 for like the 50 millionth time or something? You start Avatar yet? Or Cowboy Bebop? You said you're going to start one of those. Sorry, I'm looking at memes. Also, is that Windows notification gone? Are you guys still getting that? I hope Kevin fixed that, but I don't exactly know what that is. I mean, I know what it is. I know the sound you're talking about, but I don't know what's causing that. Cool, sweet. I haven't heard a lot about Born Again because I don't think I'm really on the Daredevil side of social media. And I still have only seen like the first season of the original show, so I don't know too much. I don't know what everyone's vibing to right now. Gosh, he's taking a long time. Here, let me check on him real quick. Not just I mean to say that. Check on him like I went to the bathroom. I didn't go to the bathroom. Okay, I went in the bathroom a little bit. I took a little peek, just around the corner, just make sure he's doing fine. It's kind of like a fire hose in there. I think he was groaning a little bit. I think he was. I think he's really fighting some demons in there. So if you guys could pray for him, that would be great. It's a war in there. It was pretty bad. I think I hear his footsteps. Is that him? I feel him. He's around us somewhere. He's in the walls. I was yapping.
Good.
Gosh, it took a long time, dude.
I won't tell you details. Alrighty, where were we?
You're supposed to recommend something. I told you to think of this beforehand.
I thought of it, and I didn't finish thinking about it.
If you had some Beaver bourbon, that'd be a nice one to shout out.
Yeah, but I don't. Sheesh. Well, since you brought up bourbon, there's a distillery in Colorado that is called Stranahan's, and they give tours, and
Okay.
this is not really relevant to media, but it is an art. Distilling is definitely an art. So, yeah, it's super cheap. Like for $20, you see their entire distillery, and they do everything on site from mashing to fermenting to distilling and aging. So, yeah, super cool, and you get to sample a bunch of stuff. And the way everything's built is very aesthetically pleasing. So there's some
That's cool. That's cool.
architectural artistic expression, I guess. So
What's the DEI count?
the what?
The DEI count.
Diversity,
Equity,
equity,
inclusion, alienation, obliteration, communication.
fornication. What does that even mean? Well,
Were there a lot of white guys? White guys there?
yeah, but there were just about as many white women. So
It's not quite tingling the senses, I don't think.
what? What are you?
What kind of architecture are you talking about?
Like the tasting room is rustic but modern, with like not with deer heads on the wall, but with
Like millennial,
a lot
kind
of
of?
wood.
Like millennial hole-in-the-wall restaurant?
Kinda,
Like
yeah.
stool level kind of stuff?
No.
No stools.
Yeah, no more at the bar. There's stools, but
Oh, yeah. You see that. Cheers.
I've never seen Cheers.
Then go on.
Yeah, I mean that's it. As you can see, I failed to follow your instructions and come up with something beforehand, so this is the best I could do. But
As long as there's not just a bunch of cement blocks everywhere.
oh no, not at all.
Have you heard of the film The Brutalist?
I have.
I'm tempted to watch it, but I also really hate brutalist art. Architecture.
I was gonna say it's architecture specifically.
Yeah.
I hear it's not a feel-good movie, so maybe you'd be fine.
Huh. In Hawaii, there's like a lot of government buildings are very brutalist, and
That's interesting.
yeah, I kind of bad taste. That's well, I mean, that was kind of one of the shocks moving to Colorado, is seeing the Capitol building here.
What is this ornate wonder?
Yeah, it's white, and there's gold on the top.
It has.
You can do that.
It has dimensions.
There's grooves.
Yeah, there's texture.
Yeah, I'll have to take you to Hawaii sometime and show you.
Please do.
I don't want to go to Hawaii though. I'll cut that. I love Hawaii. Hawaii's amazing. It's great.
Paradise.
Let's not go there. Maybe. I don't know, man. Hot take here. I think the sunsets in Colorado are better than the ones in Hawaii.
I can't speak to that, but
Where's the best sunset you've seen?
Colorado, but that's because I'm not well traveled enough to have been to Hawaii.
Okay. Well, Hawaii is. I'm not even sure if we'll have to get some people who've traveled a little bit more to give us, because I'm not even sure if like people would say Hawaii's the greatest. Okay, I'm curious now. Can you look up? You got the computer. You have the faster hands. Can you look up the best, just normal like best places for a sunset? See a sunset.
Best location.
Is Hawaii even in the top 10? Just like in the world first, and let's go to America second.
Let's see. First, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, first 5 places: Santorini in Greece, the Maldives, Haleakala, Hawaii,
Really?
Bali, or Bolivia.
I don't actually know where that is. What island is that? The Hawaii one.
Let's see.
I'm struggling.
Maui.
Maui? Okay. I know a couple people in Maui. I'll have to ask.
How's your sunsets?
How do you like your sunsets? Do you like them dry? Do you like them dry? Or shaken? I'm stroking my non-existent beard. Okay, look. I mean, okay, fine. Hawaii's in the top 3 of the world, apparently. But just Google just a random one for America.
Best. Key West in Florida, Badlands National Park, and the same place in Hawaii.
Really?
The Crater Rim, specifically.
Okay. Where's Colorado? Is Colorado anywhere on that list?
I have not seen Colorado.
They have not gone to a Rockies game, man. You go to a Rockies game, or maybe they just had bad seats. Maybe that's what it is. They had the one facing east, and they'll get to see like the absolute glory of seeing it go behind the Rocky Mountains. Just
Maybe your perspective is skewed because you see these beautiful sunsets superimposed on like the dirty skyline of Denver.
Maybe. Actually, even worse than Denver. Dude, just my drives home from Colfax.
Oh, yeah, okay. Actually, yeah, the Denver skyline can be pretty cool. Like downtown Denver.
Yeah. It's hard to enjoy that, though, because you're like freaking, well, at least me and other women that I know, we're all freaking out in Denver and trying not to get cut off for the 50th time. And you're freaking out because the drug head is dancing in the streets, and you're trying to figure out if you can get away with some illegal things.
Yeah,
because honking the horn is not good enough, and the other 2 lanes are filled because they're trying to get into a parking lot that's already says closed.
Sounds like paradise to me.
Ah! They said to keep the decibels to a angry phone call in here. Is that enough, do you think?
I don't think it. I don't know how angry the phone call is supposed to be, but I think you're fine.
Okay. I don't hear a lot of angry phone calls, so.
Yeah, me neither.
We have very polite people around us.
What?
Oh gosh, I missed a ton. Wyatt Lockley asks, is banana bread considered a biohazardous substance?
No. People eat it all the time.
People also eat air a lot, too. Put it in cans.
No one eats air, first of all. They inhale it.
Hey, it's kind of close. You could eat it, technically, if you want.
I'm glad this is not a video podcast.
He says it produces radiation.
Doesn't everything produce a little radiation?
You do, man. Every single day I see you, man.
I produce more than a little radiation.
It's glorious, man. Going in there, he glows. Okay, do you want to get into the hard one, the big one, the biggie?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I don't necessarily have a segment name for this, but we always have like a certain topic to talk about. This is kind of like movie news, media news, blah, blah, blah. What's your disposition towards the Oscars, Kevin?
In general.
Yeah.
Almost complete indifference.
Okay.
I've never cared. It is only served as a means for me to hear about movies that exist
and watch them later, maybe.
Yeah. So, I also, as I just by observation know more about it, I tend to think of it more and more like I think about most pro sports leagues. They're all rigged. Nothing is real. Yeah. So
fair enough.
I personally don't care about it much, and even if I did, it would only be in the sense that it's a scam.
It's a scam.
Yeah. Just because of how much money is behind it, how many rich,
stop you there.
Deluded people are behind it.
I'm gonna stop you there. So let's think 10 years in the future when Kevin's new single just won a Grammy. What are you saying now?
I'm glad the system was rigged in my favor.
You guys are all suckers, and I love you for it, man.
Yeah. Thanks for the golden horn.
Cornucopia. Yeah, I just kind of look I look at Twitter right after.
Yeah.
I don't watch it. I got Smash Bros to play.
Yeah, much better use of time.
To spend my time on. Try to rizz up some high school girls.
That does not. No, you don't do that. And if you are doing that, you're failing miserably.
Kevin knows me too well. Who's Josh Allen?
No idea.
Is that an angry phone call?
No.
It's not loud enough?
Not even close.
Dang. Very authoritative. I don't know if you guys heard that. Anyway. So if you didn't know, 2024 Oscars Best Picture. So that's kind of the biggie. That's really biggie. It's definitely bigger than makeup. I'm sorry. I respect you, makeup artists. You guys are wizards and have a power unbeknownst to my feeble mind. But, this is kind of what everybody looks to. This is what, like you said, you're going to possibly watch or pop in, check out. And there was a ton. It was like what we said, like The Brutalist, The Substance. I haven't seen any of those movies. There's that one I watched, though. I want to say Dune, but I know it's not Dune. Dune got,
disqualified.
Something.
I know the score got disqualified from consideration for best soundtrack, but
why did it get disqualified?
Because it was too synthesized, computer generated, which is ridiculous.
Hans Zimmer literally made up an instrument for that.
Yeah, it's pretty silly.
Okay. Let me actually do you guys a favor. Let me look it up. I should have looked it up earlier. Sorry, guys, but let me look at all the nominees. Select a category. I was prepared, okay? Just for other things. Okay, so the nominees was Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, which I really do want to see because I am a sucker for biopics and especially musical biopics. Yeah. And Chalamet really, really does look like Bob Dylan. At first, I saw that casting and I thought that was just a popular pick, but I didn't know what Bob Dylan looked like.
Oh yeah.
You see? Are you looked it up?
Yep.
It's exact almost. Conclave, Dune Part 2. Okay, so it was on there. Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys and the Substance, and Wicked, which Anna tells me is really good.
Wicked?
Yeah. So. We're not talking about... I've seen Dune. That's about it. So we're not here to talk about what we think of the nominations and how it's all a scam and how it's a cash grab. But we do want to talk about the winner, which is Anora. So Kevin told me he didn't hear much about this.
About what?
Anora.
Well, I did a little research after you told me that was what we were going to be talking about.
Okay.
Although I have not seen the movie.
And as I told Kevin in a text, don't say I did either.
Yeah, we would both like to.
At least Kevin's married. I'm not.
What does that got to do with anything?
At least I think that's like a certain like I don't know wall that a tiny bit of shield, like a very like thin cardboard shield you at least have. Whereas if I watched it, it's like, oh yeah, that kid's spending his time enjoying it. There were several different ways I could have ended that sentence, and that was the best way.
I guess so.
Yeah, but yeah. So, general thoughts, Kevin?
On what I know?
Yeah. So describe it for us. What's the issue here? Why are we talking about it?
It is a film that climbed somehow to win Best Picture when it is chock full of gratuitous sex and nudity and just yeah, like if you go to the Kids in Mind page for it, the list of scenes, it just feels like it doesn't end.
Wow.
So one of our mutual friends described it as a porno, and he's right. So
cool.
Yeah, that's the crux of this. How in the world, and I think we have some proposed answers to this question, but how in the world did a film like that, regardless of its other qualities, get Best Picture?
Yeah. And this is a big story. Like, I'm not gonna pretend here and like say this is the totally original idea, but a lot of the Christian world is kind of freaking out about this. So, I read some articles on it. I read some movie reviews about the film just so I can be somewhat informed about it. But yeah, it's so the synopsis of it is basically a stripper, a sex worker, all the above. She on like career day for school, she signed the other section when you had a firefighter, doctor, nurse, lawyer. She picked other. And then she finds a mobster son or something like that.
It's a Russian oligarch's son.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they fall in love. Kind of.
That's using the term loosely.
They marry each other, so they at least saw something. One side saw something, a lot of something, and they proceed to marry, and chaos ensues because of I think it's like a crime drama, right? Like I said, I am just working primarily on reviews.
Yeah,
articles.
I've heard it described as a dark dramedy, like dark comedy drama.
Okay.
So.
And from what it's the main goal of it is trying to do is I guess, bring some humanity to sex work, trying to show the people behind it, trying to show the abuse of people in lower class, and how just shine a window on where cases of oppression might be. But I'm trying to figure out where to start first when it comes to that, because we have a lot of avenues we can talk about. But I think, here, I'll just say this. So me personally, when showing the human side of things is not a bad cause. And I think as Christians, that's is something we should look for in every day. And if our stories reflect that and help to try and remind us to look for the human side of people, seeing the fallen nature of the world, and see the struggles that people go through, is a very good thing. Because I think as what scriptures, like I'll stick to our rule, but I think that's very admirable even to do in stories, because as Christians, we want to we understand that we as humans are sinners, that we do bad things, and a lot of bad things happen to us, even to so and so good people.
Yeah,
We can call in the loosest terms more human terms, and people are always going through stuff, and even we should share that kindness with people of sex work from a biblical understanding.
Yep.
So if we are to describe that in media, which again, this is not like a Christian movie or anything, this is coming from a very secular perspective, but let's just come from our perspective at least first. I'll just ask you, is this a case of, is this allowed? Is this one way you can go about it?
You're asking, is the way they went about portraying that humanness to the sex trade?
Yeah.
Is that acceptable?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Well, I'll quote two things. There are ways to demonstrate the humanness of the sex trade or any other profession that is, less than noble.
Yeah.
There's ways to do that without degrading the humanity and bodies of the actors and actresses involved. And that's what they're doing. They're literally putting their naked bodies and the sacred act of sex on theater screens across the world. And there's no defending that. Biblically, we're supposed to keep the marriage bed pure.
Yeah.
They're not doing that. There's no marriage bed involved even. It's just a bed.
Yeah.
So, and for us as individuals, I know myself personally could not watch a film like that without breaking, like I would be essentially committing adultery, because I could not watch a film like that without lusting.
Yeah.
And Jesus said,
go.
And that's adultery.
Yeah.
According to Jesus Christ. So, yeah, from a Christian, the secular perspective is one I can't represent very accurately because I'm not a secularist. and I, as a conservative Christian, I put almost no stock in the secular perspective on this issue. So I'll only address it by saying I think it's debauchery. But for believers, like, there's no defending your consuming media like that even though I agree that not just in conversation but in art, the lives of everyone, no matter what their profession, should be seen as what they are: human lives, imagers, and that can be done by reading articles. That can be done by talking to those people, because they exist around us. Like, there's real life sex workers in our city,
and sometimes in the church.
So to humanize that world, which we need to do because they're humans who need Jesus, the way to do it is to not watch a film that was produced by people who are, at the very least, don't condemn those actions, and at worst affirm those actions.
Yeah.
So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I agree, definitely, because it's, as Christians, we understand the humanness, but we also see that as sin. That's what we're understanding first.
The humanness and the, even if I may use the term, empathy for that world, if it's not paired with acknowledgement of how sinful and depraved it is, that's not really love or empathy.
That's not helping.
Because you're affirming something that brings judgment.
Mm-hmm. And that is the starting point too.
Yeah.
Coming to discipling them, and bringing the word, and making sure that, for the rest of the time, that you're checking up on your sister in Christ, if she may become, and even not, if she's just what you can call a friend. You know, it's, that journey is even more so. I don't. I agree with you. I'm kind of repeating what you're saying, but to show, to bring light to this, to have empathy for a person, you're not gonna help any matters by throwing a sacred part of her on the screen.
Yeah.
That's not helping her. That's not helping the culture. That specific working culture. That's not gonna help the culture of the world.
That it worsens the problem that we're addressing. Like, that, really, movies like that are just another form of the sex trade.
Yeah.
Like, it's immoral and degrading and destroys people's self-esteem. And it's just, so I would think of it as, if you're gonna pay the price of admission to go see a movie like that, you're taking part in that industry.
Yeah. And I guess another question that a lot of Christians have is, so we've discussed our thoughts on how to, what we think of it, but a lot of people want to know, how did this even happen? How did we get this far down the rabbit hole?
Do you mean with movies like this existing, or
movies like this,
or winning Oscars?
awards? While we think, and I think most critics, and most people who somewhat pay attention, think the Oscars is nothing but politics and
money laundering.
Money laundering, yeah. But people, it does, no matter what, even to those critics, the Oscars does mean something.
Yeah.
So people just want to know, how did it get to that high of a caliber? What would you respond to that? So I'm going, and Kevin is like, so I'm kind of thinking about this movie, but a lot of people are really angry. Can you tell me the history of how this happened?
Sure. Well, my answer is twofold again. And the first thing is what I already said. I think it's a big scam. So the content of the film itself, I think, has less to do with it winning than it's portrayed to.
Yeah.
So, there's that point. But as far as how do movies like that even exist, and aside from winning awards, make millions of dollars and are lauded by not just the execs in the Oscars, but or critics, I guess, in the Oscars, but lauded by the everyman. Like, how did that happen? The answer just has to be a godless culture. Like, America is the land of the free, and sometimes that's a very, very bad thing. Like, the First Amendment lets people release movies like that, which there's no defending. So, and things like the First Amendment also allow, if we're being honest with ourselves, it allows countries to fall into that decline, that moral decline. It's the same reason why we have Planned Parenthoods on every corner, and it's the same reason why the sex trade even exists.
Yeah.
So, our country has been given freedoms, and the church has largely failed in stemming that tide of immorality. And the reasons that's happened are many, and I am not well informed enough to know all of them. I could guess at some, but one of them I can speak to is what we were just talking about. Like, if we take this film, people poured creative sweat and blood into it, and not so we can talk about. We talked about sex workers and how their lives need to be humanized, and they need to be loved as Christ would love them. But the same should be said for the actresses in these movies, and the actors and the directors and the people behind the production of it. I think American evangelicals have fallen into the culture in the sense that we're all, in our own little bubbles, and we're not exerting the influence on the art world that we should be, and instilling it with some greater sense of morality than it has right now. Like, why is Hollywood chock full of liberal secularists?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know the answer to that question exactly, but
the Jews. No.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm making fun of people.
Yeah, well, you can all fight with Scott about that one. But
yeah.
But regardless of how it came to be like this, an action plan now should be, it's hard because it's kind of a monopoly and blah, blah, blah. But for Christian artists, we need to do what we can to saturate the market with glorifying art. And that does not mean necessarily movies about Jonah being swallowed by a fish. It can be good storytelling that communicates biblical principles and is uplifting and meaningful. And so
I would like everyone to guess who he has in his head right now at the moment.
Myself.
No, that's not what I meant.
Who? I don't know who.
It sounds like you're describing how everyone describes Tolkien.
Oh. He was not on my mind, mostly just because he wasn't a filmmaker.
Oh.
If we were talking about authors, that is, I probably would have thought about him. But while we're at it, take a look at Tolkien's work, or G.K. Chesterton, or a bunch of dead guys who knew how to write stories. So, there's my word vomit on how I think, a little bit of how I think we came to this point.
Yeah, and anyone, I just want to, I'll say my piece too, and but I also want to say that for all those who are listening live, feel free to throw all your all what you think into the chat as well. I'm not going to answer them right away because I want to make sure that me and Kevin finish our dialogue, but then I'll definitely look at what you guys want to say afterwards too. So a lot of, like I said, I was looking at some articles, and a lot of people also gave theories, and I like how you brought up how the church is definitely a main factor in this, where this has become an increasingly secular society, and I'm someone who is very critical of the church in that matter.
Yeah.
I think that the church has more tried to follow the culture and not be different from it, be alien to it, as the word wants us to be. And I think that has definitely caused society to promote ideas like this or think these things, because they're not getting pushback really. They say they do, but at least from the religious circles, it's a very, very small circle. And us being part of that circle. And so I definitely think the church has let things pass and has even helped to destroy a Christ-filled culture, ironically. But with that, so let me pull up his name real quick. I pulled up some of the articles that shout out to me, but article writer Juliana Purnell. I think that's the writer. That also sounds like a sister of an actress, but and she was saying that another thing to note is that a lot of the other stuff that was on the ticket were movies like The Brutalist and Emilia Perez, which are also very similar to Anora in theme, in the sense of oppressor and oppressed. These themes, these very hot button issues at the moment, because well, I like to say we're all trying to get our victim card because we can get away with a lot of stuff. But it is that idea that if there is pushback, then suddenly they're the oppressors, we're the oppressed. And I think that really muddles actual oppression.
Yeah.
And doesn't really help matters at all. But they're saying that's a big one. That's a big theme that everybody is really looking towards. And I think that's because a lot of people in a secular society can only really rely on themselves. And they can't rely in a higher power at all. And I think for the greediest of the greediest, real oppressors who they can take advantage of that to make themselves richer and have more power, so and so. And I think that can also bring other people to depression and hopelessness, which a lot of people are feeling, and that's why a lot of people connect to certain movies like this. And that's one of the reasons why you really find a lot of this and how it can win Best Picture.
Yeah.
And let me look at my notes here. And you know, there's because of and so because of this, that also puts Christianity under fire a lot too.
Yeah.
Because if, like we just said earlier, we condemn this kind of work, we don't think it is godly or helpful for any society. Well, now suddenly we can be defined as oppressors.
Yeah. We're oppressing the working class
by saying you have better things to do with your body.
Yeah. Well, more than you have better things to do. You have less sinful things to do with your body.
And as well with this, so, and I'm thinking through my thoughts, and one thing really popped out, which you might think is funny and maybe a tangent, but do you remember the GoDaddy ads? Or did you not have cable?
Yeah, we've never had cable.
Oh, okay. So, there's these, I'm not saying search it up, but so GoDaddy is a website building software or browser
or
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Obviously I wasn't paying attention to the product for a reason. I'm going to tell you why. Because back in the earlier days, the way they kind of market themselves is by showing a bunch of naked women. Through their, I mean, half naked women, scantily clad women.
There we go.
To give attention to their product. And I remember one time I was really talking to one of my coworkers, because I work in construction, so there's a lot of it's very gritty in those situations.
Yes.
And he was complaining about that, man. He's like, man, the feminist movement, and they got rid of all those ads. And I remember thinking to myself, I said this too, but I think I kept my thoughts after and really think about it. And it is really funny. So we have this idea of oppressor and oppressed, and so now we have the feminist movement, the modern day feminist movement to release those shackles upon women.
Yeah.
So we start saying, and I think it is done loads of harm. But one of the greatest things, and I say that as a dude, I understand, but from a biblical and understanding scripture, I say that in belief that I believe in spiritual authority. However, I thought that was one of the better parts of the movement.
Yeah, yes.
Where we're saying, hey, don't sexualize, don't objectify women. Maybe. Kevin's nodding. He's shaking his head. He doesn't agree.
I miss the glory days.
But it's just weird that. So you say, they're oppressed, or you're oppressed, but now you make films that more so objectify women than other things.
Yeah.
It's a great irony of our day. And yeah, and that's some thoughts. But another thing I wanted to point out too is that this stuff is not new either.
True. The mediums just changed.
Yeah. The mediums changed. Well, yeah. Because we have paintings from the Romantic era. And I'm not saying, and that doesn't mean all those paintings are lovey-dovey and to inflict the modern interpretation of romance.
Yeah.
But they're to glorify certain aspects of life.
Mm-hmm.
And so through that, you have a lot of nudist paintings and such things as that, because they want to glorify the human body as well.
Yeah.
Which, intention-wise, I don't think is the worst thing. Probably the wrong act.
Yeah. Glorify the human body isn't the right term, though. I think, admire and bringing attention to the human body should lead to glorification of the creator of the human body, not the human body itself.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's not new within art. But I would argue that's not even new in film either. It hasn't won necessarily Oscars, but it's definitely been prevalent through the earlier days when we didn't have such awards. Because I watch older movies, and there's a lot of stuff that catches me by surprise. And whoa, okay, I didn't expect that. And because there's no rating on anything, it's free roam.
Yeah.
This isn't sexual, but one of my I guess I can say favorite examples of creatives going awry is the Noah Ark movie from the 1920s. Are you familiar with this story at all? So what happens with the Noah's Ark story? Flood, right?
Yeah.
Lots of water. And through now we have technology to fake that and keep our actors safe. However, to get a very realistic shot back then, you kind of just had to do it.
Lots of real water.
Yes. And so there's this one director, I don't know his name right now, and he just said, you know what, just see this set full of tens and tens and tens of people, just flood it with pounds and pounds of water, tons and tons of water, and many people died, even more were injured. It was legitimately a disaster, and it came out still. And it is, to his credit, those people look scared.
It's a pretty accurate to the real story.
Yeah. So people without reins existed beforehand, and then you also find that with very foreign films, like French films. I think I can even say are like kind of famous for that, because directors like Martin Scorsese, who took a lot of influence, also has quite a bit of nudity in his films. I don't know if you've seen Mean Streets. I wouldn't recommend it. I kind of put it on because it's like, oh, this is Scorsese, but it was kind of more of his earlier days, and I had to stop because it's pretty chock full of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's even stuff like that, even from like super renowned directors like Scorsese, one of my favorites. And then, okay, this is gonna be another example. And it's gonna be weird. Bear with me, please, Kevin.
I'll think about it.
Have you ever heard of the nudie movie, the dirty movie, Deep Throat? And I'm sorry if that sounds a little grotesque to everyone listening. I'm sorry, but it's what the movie's called. So that is a very, very, I think, now I haven't checked, but I don't think you can really have these metrics anymore with the internet. But it is the highest grossing dirty movie in America, I believe. And it was lots of people saw it. And so I was listening to people. I think I was listening to Joe Rogan. That's not like a shout out to Joe Rogan. I'm not the biggest Joe Rogan fan. I do like listening to his stuff because, you know, he's a comedian and he's very much in the martial arts. So I kind of like listening to that. When he gets onto like drug talk, I kind of check out. I feel the need to put that disclaimer because anytime someone brings up Joe Rogan, it's kind of the same thing with like Trump, where everyone's like, you
presumptions, you
worship this guy, you're part of the cult.
Yeah.
You slice your blood and feed it to his teeth. So, but anyway, and he was talking about it too with one of his guests, and they were saying it's like it was almost a movie to people, like very, very. They saw like famous celebrities going into the theater with their wives to go into it, and he was saying that it's because people really thought, well, one, people are seeing it a bunch, so everyone's like, okay, so what's the big deal about this movie? And two, it was shifting perspectives and ideas to where people were thinking, okay, so maybe dirty movies are gonna start being considered as cinema,
acceptable.
Yeah, and people and it's gonna be less of a taboo thing, and it's gonna be more casual.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that movie has done, and I don't think that movie has. Well, maybe I can't say that I'm super into this, knowledgeable in this world, but I think other factors of modern technology have achieved that goal. But I don't think that movie contributed to it. But there are these examples where, no matter what area, because that's 20s, that's 30s, that's the 70s, that's the 80s, and we find these waves through cinema and art of stuff like this. This is not new.
Yeah.
This has been with the internet, this has been projected to the stage, a different type of stage with a different audience. But this is not new.
Yeah.
I don't know. Any comments, Kevin?
No.
It's late here, folks.
Yeah. Kevin's checking out.
But and I think you see that in the 20th century, definitely, where you see really strong conservatism, where things get really restricted. Like in the 50s, where censorship was a big deal. And that goes into stuff like McCarthyism. Goes back down to like the Vietnam War in the 60s and the hippie movement. Back to the 70s with like Jesus Revolution and stuff. Back in the 80s of a conservative time. Back to the 90s, and it keeps going up and down, up and down. And I think that's what we're experiencing too. Because I also think that while this stuff, is winning Best Pictures, I also think that there is a growing movement, conservative movement, where more people say white males statistically are getting more conservative and more religious, and we're gonna see this kind of go up and down for the rest of the time. We're gonna have several more Anoras in the future, but we're also I really think that we're gonna also have more conservative art again, because I mean, so much of art is built off of Christian backs, so much.
Yep, Christian ideals.
Yeah. And so I say that to not lose hope.
Yeah.
And but and ultimately this is all God's doing. But God uses his people, and I think that the church needs to really pick up its bootstraps too.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you picked up your bootstraps, Kevin?
I've grabbed them.
Grappled them. Cool. I don't know, any more mud you want to sling towards this movie?
I did. I swing quite a bit.
Cool. I have some verses I wrote down that I just want to look towards too. 1 Corinthians 6:18. Run from sexual sin. No other sin so clearly affects the body as this one does. For sexual immorality is a sin against your own body. And then 1 Thessalonians 4:3-5. God's will is for you to be holy, so stay away from all sexual sin. Then each of you will control his own body and live in holiness and honor, not in lustful passion like the pagans who do not know God and his ways. And then I didn't write it down for some reason, but I know exactly where it is. Not exact. Proverbs 5. Give me a second to find the verse. Why spill the waters of your springs? Proverbs 5:16. Why spill the waters of your springs in the streets, having sex with just anyone? Verse 17. You should reserve it for yourselves, never share it with strangers. And verse 18. Let your wife be a fountain of blessings for you. Rejoice in the wife of your youth. So, if you didn't catch that, if you weren't listening, write this down. Keep sex within marriage.
So if you're not married, that means no sex.
Yeah. Or watching movies.
Yeah.
Just in general.
No movies for you.
No movies for you.
Cool.
Kevin's married, FYI, so he has authority.
Yep. Cater to my authority.
Okay, I said I know we're kind of winding down, but I said just look at the chat real quick. And yeah, Wyatt says it just sounds like Cuties, but for strippers. And Cuties is another one where it's like trying to humanize certain people and show how corrupt people can be with children. But it also shows that with child pornography. So
yeah,
again, fair point. Wrong way to do it.
Yeah,
wrong way.
Destroying the message by taking part in what you're trying to condemn.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so hungry. I just heard my stomach grumbling. like a leviathan. Anyway, I'm good. That was a good conversation.
Yeah, lots of good thoughts.
What do you think, Kevin? Is the live format seems like a good idea?
It needs refining, but as an idea, it is definitely a good idea.
Cool. And we'll work on getting the right times to people.
Yes. Well, to ourselves.
And that too. We'll try to come up with a schedule. Anyway, I forget my outro, and I can't cut this time because
everyone's listening.
Yeah. I'm Scott Sowers.
I'm Kevin Spence.
And we're
unimpressed with the fools.
Unimpressed with the fools. Thank you, Kevin. Good night, everybody. Pray to the Lord.
Amen.
Cut it.